Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to your Million Dollar Life Global Summit. No matter who you are or where you're joining us from around the world, it is such a pleasure to have you here. And I want you to know you're not here by mistake. There is something within you that's starting to bubble up, starting to become aware, starting to become ready for the next chapter of success in your life. When you're ready, you begin to pause, you begin to listen, and you begin to remember that there's something bigger in your life. And that is what this summit is for. It's about helping you to heal, align, and to step into your higher purpose. Over the next 4 days, we are going to have magnificent speakers from all around the world, just like you, spending their time to show you their secrets of how to heal, transform, and step into your best life, your million-dollar life. So let me show you the pathway of what you can expect. We are going to be dealing with so many fun things and so many different topics such as healing, spirituality, health, wellness, purpose, direction, confidence, and identity. All of these things are parts of us that are learning to bloom and grow into that next chapter. And it's not because you're broken, it's because you're magnificent. This summit is only going to help you to shine brighter. And let me show you what I mean. You see this? This is a beautiful crystal. It's a diamond of your soul. This is the true you. This is the true me. This is who you really are in this world. But dealing with a world of polarity, of light and darkness, this beautiful light within us gets covered when we deal with trauma, when we deal with pain, when we're dealing with situations that cause us to feel unseen, unheard, when we're dealing with abuse, when we're dealing with unfair, unjust situations. That beautiful light is still there within you, except that it's covered. It's covered in darkness. But we get to choose how quickly we get to remove these layers of darkness. And that's what this whole summit is about. We're going to get you to heal. We're going to get you to step and align into a new layer of spirituality. We're going to have you enjoy some health and wellness and fun things so you can look and feel like $1 million, so you can get to your best self, and we can reveal this beautiful light that's within you, that's within me, because we're all one and we all need this, including myself. So we have so many fun things planned ahead, and these are just a few of them that I just absolutely love. We're gonna feel like learning about a lot of theory, yes, but there's also gonna be cool things that we're gonna do. There's gonna be some heart chakra Reiki healing you'll get to enjoy. There's a glow up for burnt out mamas, which is something I personally need. Those dealing with perimenopause, how to lose the weight, how to cook delicious food. We have a chef who's cooking chicken piccata this week. Learning how to have ageless skin by taking care of it properly through facials. We'll learn about clarity codes and how to activate our higher self. We're also going to receive some divine guidance and channeled messages, and how to heal your family lineage. This is just the beginning, a snip of what you can expect. And if you're not sure how this all works, then I want you to know that there's an agenda. When you log on to your $1 Million Life Global Summit, you're going to see an agenda of all of the different topics that are available, and you get to choose to listen to one or listen to all. You can actually choose which ones you want, and you're going to receive email reminders of when they're starting. You can listen to the replays, you can take notes, and it's all there to help you to activate one of these little pieces within us. So, on that note, I want to welcome you to mine. I have the pleasure of kicking things off and showing you how to become the happiest person you know. And this is living your $1 million life. I'm going to introduce who I am, what I'm doing, what is your $1 million life, and like what are all the things that I can do to live a happier lifetime. So first things first is that we all believe that change takes time, but that's one of the greatest illusions, because through free will, we get to choose how quickly we want to shift the trajectory of our life. And one of the things that I teach is that we all have an inner compass, just like this arrow within you, within me, within the picture. And this compass only points in one direction, and that's north. North is your North Star. North is your destiny, your highest destiny. And we're going to talk about why it's the highest destiny in just a minute. But this is the place of your $1 million life. What is your $1 million life? Good question. Your $1 million life has nothing to do with money and everything to do with feeling like $1 million. It's a frequency. All of us are vibrating at different levels. Some of us are vibrating down here, and that's when we're dealing with rooted jealousy and anger and bitterness and holding on to the past. Where some of us are vibrating up here that have dealt with forgiveness and happiness and peace and abundance and gratitude. We're all vibrating in different ways. So your $1 million life really has nothing to do about money, but it's all about the frequency that you hold within you, so that no matter what your external situation is, your external circumstances that you can or cannot change, that you get to choose how you respond, how you react, how you get to shift your perspective on how you see things. And the way that you do this is absolutely possible. And this is what they call in the Bible heaven on earth. This is where you feel secure, you feel cherished, you feel chosen, you feel seen, you feel heard, there's inner peace, you're surrounded by nourishing relationships. And it's not to say that all of this is going to be in this perfect way that nothing goes wrong. It's learning how you can change yourself within you, because when you change you, then everything else has to respond. Sometimes relationships fall away through creating boundaries and what you're willing to accept or not accept in your life anymore. And sometimes you change so brightly that you can't actually change anybody, but you can inspire everyone. And when one person lights up and inspires the whole world around them, around their universe, to begin to light up too. And that's what allows us to feel deeply fulfilled in this life. It's not about money and cars and houses, although all of that is nice, and I'm going to share my story with you because I like that stuff too. But the things we go to bed at when we go to sleep at night isn't, ruminating on how much money we make or, all of the material things, because all of that will get outdated. You're going to have to replace them and all the things. But the things that I'm talking to you today about, this frequency, is everlasting. This is something that nobody can take away from you. So when you go to bed with a peaceful mind and a happy heart, that's what deep fulfillment feels like. So let me just share a little bit about who I am. May I introduce myself to you? My name is Steph Mahoney, and I'm the founder of Your $1 Million Life. And what my hope here today is first to share a little bit about my story of how I started, where I came from, and how I was able to flip my life by experiencing the deepest lows, the darkest valleys, and flip it into a way where I'm experiencing the highest timeline of my destiny. And that all begins with choice and decision. But many of us don't see it when we're over here because we're in victimhood. And that's where I live the first part of my life. So let me share a story with you. That's me, and I don't look very good. Many years ago, my life was a mess before I transformed it into $1 million life. It all began when I was very young. And, sometimes people grow up with very poor conditions, a family that is abusing them perhaps, or a lot of misfortune. And that wasn't my case. I grew up in middle class with a loving family that was new to Canada, and all I knew was surrounded by love. But there's something inside of me that was so dark, and I know now that this was carried on from other experiences, other lifetimes. But I had so much darkness within me, and I was so insecure. And one of the things that really tripped me up is when I was very young and I was in elementary school, I was going through puberty. I was the first one going through puberty, and that's when I really learned this distinction of what hatred and jealousy were. You know, the girls hated me and segregated me and made fun of me, while the boys created this gang and would sexually assault me in the dark corners of the school, would follow me home. And of course, nobody knew anything about this, and I was terrified because I felt like I was the problem. I didn't realize I had a voice, so I shrunk inside of me. I was so scared of the world. I began not realizing that I could ask for help, that I was allowed to, and I felt like so much shame, and I, as a result, had so much social anxiety. I didn't know how to talk to girls who hated me, and I was terrified of men. And here I was living in my own bubble, feeling like an alien, that nobody understood me. I was in modeling. I had a photographer mention to me that if I wanted to continue working with him, that I should consider liposuction, him not realizing that I was only 12 years old. So that brought me into a downward spiral where I had this horrible eating disorder, and that created so much change in my body. My body was starting to grow fur just to keep my body warm. I was brought to a hospital and a psychologist. I had deep craters of cysts that were red and bulging all over my face from the stress that I was internally dealing with. I literally had no self-worth, and I said yes to the first person, of course, who would take me, because that's usually what happens in these situations. And I dealt with a lot of years of narcissistic abuse, of trying, making happy, losing myself to make another person happy, but always being wrong. And I lost my identity, I lost my self-worth, I lost all of my friends. I was also working in the stock markets, dealt with one of the largest stock market collapses, and lost all of my money in the exchange, then not realizing I'd ever have a future again. It was really, really hard. You know, I was in such a dark place, and I was really ready to give up on my life. I finally left this narcissistic relationship, and I left to nowhere. I left to a deeper layer of darkness. I left to a place where I didn't even know myself, and I no longer had people checking in on me or birthday wishes because I had no friends. And I didn't know how, you know, being in my young 20s when everyone's living their best life, like how could such a pure soul, good person be in this darkness where I'm literally crying myself to sleep every night and not knowing that it could ever be better. And, you know, this is the place, like, I was really contemplating suicide. I was ready to give up on it all. And that is when one day I heard this very deep voice vibrate within me, and I didn't know what that was, although I did. And all it said in a very monotone voice was, "Give your life to me." And I knew who it was. And I looked at this voice, I looked at it, and I'm like, I have just got out of a controlling relationship. There is no way I'm going to give my life to another man. No way. And I just pushed that voice away. I'm like, I got this. My life continued, of course, and it continued to downward spiral to new levels of rock bottom. And I remember working at Sears Whole Home Furniture Store, and I was hiding behind a couch, and I had my head underneath my legs. And I was contemplating how I was going to do it. I was so ready to give up on this life. I'm like, nobody should suffer this way. And I was trying to figure out the best way I could do this without hurting my family. And that's when the voice came back again. And it said the same thing. Nothing changed. It said, give your life to me. And by this time, I was so done with life that I threw it like a frisbee. I was like, you know what? Have it. I don't even want whatever is left of this pathetic life anymore. And just like that, the voice left. And it wasn't that it happened immediately or over days, but suddenly I felt like there was this light that started shining above me. And it started to show me how my life was coming to me, my destiny, my life was coming to me in the form of choices. And it started putting this light in front of the right choice. And it was me, of course, who had to make that step forward and take that step to make that choice. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I have nothing to lose. So I take that step, and all of a sudden it slightly became a little bit brighter. And I would do that again and again. And it was like this thick web of darkness that I was in started to slowly loosen up. And the more I kept doing it, the more light I started to see, the more happier I started to feel. And all of a sudden I was attracting new friendships. I was starting to look at myself differently. I was starting to care about who I was. I was starting to fix my hair and find clothes that I loved, and started to remember that I had an opinion, that I was okay. And I started to rebuild myself like little baby steps at a time. And over many years, my life changed. You know, I went from living this mess into living my $1 million life. And I realized that every single part of me that was dealing with darkness, I was able to flip. So instead of dealing with social anxiety, you know, now it became this social butterfly that actually loves people. I used to be so scared of talking to people. I would never talk to them in their eyes and see them. I would look down and I was always nervous. Am I saying the right thing? Am I funny enough? Am I cool enough? Am I doing the right, you know, it was always this internal battle within me. And now I genuinely love people. I went from having these deep craters and facial scars to suddenly healing my skin, where I'm getting compliments from, you know, when the estheticians, when I'm getting facials and taking care of my body. And I don't know how that happened. I went from hating my body to loving my body, accepting it. And I have so many stories, but I was able to envision of who I wanted to be, and this young girl who could eat like 100 hamburgers and not gain any weight. And I became her. I was able to heal this place of an eating disorder and having a healthy body and truly eating and living my best life. And food is now my love language. I was able to heal the toxic male relationships that I was facing, from being always this unlucky in love girl to marrying my soulmate. And it's not even that, but we have such a deep love for each other that it was the next day of our wedding day where we looked at each other and we're like, you know, we had hundreds of people at our wedding, most of them which we didn't even know. And we're like, you know, wouldn't it be so cool if one day maybe we can renew our vows as a family? One day when we can have kids, we could just do this again. That's the only part of today that really meant anything to me. That's what I was telling my husband, my new husband. And he's like, yeah, you know, that's a great idea. And I was like, well, maybe instead of like every 25 years, maybe you do every 10 years or something, you know? He's like, yeah, but that seems like a really long time. Why don't we do it every 5 years? And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, that would be a really cool family tradition. So now every 5 years, me and my family are doing these destination weddings, just us with no crowds and nobody to even take our photos except passenger-bys. And just this past year, we renewed our 15-year anniversary at the Little White Chapel at Las Vegas. But it just showed me what's possible when you're like down at the very dumps. But when you're healed, you can attract somebody else who's healed. And because of the pain you experience, you appreciate each other so much, which is what our lived experience is together. I went from losing all my money in the stock market, not knowing how I'd ever pay for a wedding, how I'd ever afford a house, to now living in our dream house. And if it could happen for me, it could happen for you, because we're all one. You know, we're meant to be loved, and we're meant to experience beautiful things. And this is something we're going to talk about. I went from being infertile and being told I may never have children to having $1 million family. You know, the first two were through fertility treatments, and my youngest guy, so the first two are Chase and Aspen, and my youngest guy, Blake, literally came out of nowhere. I didn't even know my body could ever conceive a baby naturally. And that was like one of the biggest blessings, to be able to feel, I guess, as a woman, that I am worthy of having that experience. I went from living with no purpose and ready to take away my life, and here I am now creating this global movement of women stepping into their own purpose and living their best life. And my whole intention is for everybody to live with this life of prayers fulfilled, and love and happiness and peaceful home and nourishing relationships and a quiet mind. And for me, that's everything, because I didn't know that that was possible when I was in so much darkness. And now I just want to reach your hand, no matter where you are in this world, to show you that if you're going through hard times too, I see you and I feel you, and I just honor you, because my experience might have looked very different, but pain in a soul is the hardest thing to experience, especially when you don't see a way out. But that's why I'm here, to show you the flashlight in your own life too. And here's the secret, all right? Scooch it. Here's the secret. You have $1 million life too, but yours is going to be better, because yours is your own. And I'm simply going to show you the pathway of how you can begin stepping into this. And the key is, it begins with a decision. Many of us have to hit this rock bottom to get sick of being sick of it. And that's what I had to do. I was so mad at my circumstances that I was doing anything willing to change. But the key is, it's a decision that you have to change. If you love the areas of your life that are going well, that's amazing. That's something that you've actually healed, and you're living in that higher timeline. But if there's something that you don't love, like my situation, this is the place of change and transformation that I'm calling and inviting you to flip, heal, change, transform, and up level to. So of course I can't tell you everything in this short video, but my hope is to share you a pathway and how I can help you expedite that, and what that might look like for you. And if there's time, I would love to even share in a little tip of something I'm going to show to you. So stay tuned. But first, it's story time. Okay, so scooch in again. I had come across this in my very early journey of a spiritual awakening. And this is something that really hit me, because it showed me how life actually works. So this is a little story called Two Sons of an Alcoholic Father. And it goes like this. There were two twin boys born of an alcoholic father. Many years later, these boys grew into men. One became a very successful businessman, and the other became an alcoholic. When asked, "Why are you this way?" they both answered, "Because I watched my father." So it was two brothers living in the same circumstances with the same hardship, the same darkness, but one chose to live in that darkness and become it through victimhood, whereas another chose to rise up from the circle, to rise up and heal that generational trauma, to rise up and do something better with their life. One chose to become better and one chose to become bitter. And through free will, we get that choice. In every moment-to-moment basis, that is what our choice is. And we get to flip this the moment we decide, because there's nobody who can do it for you. We each have that cross that we're carrying in this life. We each have struggles, lessons, misfortune. We deal with heaviness from the past. But if we can reframe the way that we see it, it no longer keeps us in chains. It unlocks us to free us into higher frequency. So this is what I wanted to share a little bit with you today. But first, let's talk about you. Because within you, you have a light within you that only you can fulfill. You have a purpose that's only yours. Out of the billions of people in this world, you have a purpose that's only your own. And because of you stepping into this purpose, you're now able to activate it if you choose to. Your purpose is the highest timeline of your destiny when you lean into it. And the whole world, the universe, God, the inner arrow within you conspires you to fulfill that purpose. But you have to know where it's taking you is to this beautiful place. Many times when we're stuck in darkness, we get really scared of change. But your higher purpose is to experience the highest timeline of your destiny, your $1 million life, because you are meant to have it all. You're meant to have the love, the happiness, the peace, the joy, the careers, the relationships. You're meant to have your inner smile shine brighter than your outer smile. That is God's will for you. God's will for you is to experience success, well-being, and happiness. That is God's will for you. But through free will, we get to choose which brother we're going to be. Are we going to be the brother that keeps looking backwards at all the misfortune that kept us stuck and unhappy and blame? Or are we going to find this place of forgiveness and activate a higher frequency to allow our life to shift and transform? And my hope, and I know your hope, is to have this beautiful life. Your destiny is predestined. You have this beautiful timeline that God is bringing you towards. But it's not going to be fulfilled unless you choose for it to be. It's only the potential of your destiny that's given to you. It's only the opportunities that's given to you. It's only the ability to forgive the lessons, the people, the circumstances, even yourself, in order to move forward. Otherwise, we're going to get stuck in the past and be that alcoholic brother that keeps blaming the world. And what I want you to know is this: if you're going through really hard times, that degree of suffering that you're experiencing, especially in the beginning part of your life, through your family line, through your lineage, through perhaps circumstances, if you relate to my story, the degree of suffering and pain that you're feeling is actually the degree and blessings that you're going to receive in your future. The degree of your mess is the degree of your $1 million life. The degree of your misfortune is the degree of blessings that are going to come and chase you as long as you're living this place of excellence and moving forward into a place of spiritual maturity and alignment and going forward into that place of your North Star. So the greater your challenge is, the greater your blessing. And it's like this arrow that this lady is holding. The further back your arrow goes of obstacles is the further back it moves forward to the blessings that are ahead of you. So your $1 million life, let's talk about that. Of course, there's so many things that I teach, but I want to show you a little framework that perhaps you can follow me with and anchor. First things first, as we talked about, is that you have to choose. Everything begins with a decision, and decision is free will. It's a choice point in every single moment of our life. Are we going to do, or are we not going to do? Are we going to say yes now, or are we going to delay? Are we going to pretend we never heard it, or are we going to go running and abandon the ship because it's too hard to face? That's our choice point. But I believe that all of us are here today because we're ready. We're ready to step into this higher future. So I don't even have that as one of my numbers, because I'm assuming that we are all there. So number one, it's acceptance. It's not accepting that anybody in all the circumstances and everything that happened was right. It's accepting that it actually happened and that this is now your history. And this is now the place that you're going to move forward from, that you're not going to bring your history into your future. It's accepting everything that has happened in your life has brought you to this very moment. Number two is surrendering it. And one of the things I teach is that each of us hold a blueprint. It's a blueprint of all the things that we're charted to experience in this life. And we forget the blueprint when we come through the veil of amnesia into this world and experience life. We forget what this purpose is within us. Although that inner North Star keeps driving us forward, we forget what that actually is. But divinity knows, angels know, ascended masters know, Jesus knows, God knows, your spirit guides know. This is all known in the quantum universe. And that's why you can never go wrong, because your life is a continuous GPS. When you're going the wrong way, driving to a place you've never been, your GPS doesn't say, hey, listen, you're doing this all wrong, you should quit. It keeps just changing the turns and brings you to that destination safely. And that's what the universe and God and your spirit guides are leading you towards. So when we surrender, just like I had to surrender, remember I heard that voice, give your life to me. And at first I said no, and my life continued to be horrible. Finally, even with resistance, I said yes. And I threw it to him as a frisbee. But that's me handing over the driving wheel of my life and moving it to a place that was different than where I was. When you give control of your life, you're giving the steering wheel and you're allowing them to take your life and put it back in the right direction. Our destiny is meant to go north, to our North Star. Through free will, sometimes we end up in the wrong direction. So it's taking that steering wheel and bringing us back into divine alignment so we can live in accordance to our North Star, which is happiness and fulfillment. Choice point, of course. Are we going to be better or are we going to become bitter? Because on a moment-to-moment basis, these are our choices. And this is what refines our character of living a life of excellence. And of course, we're going to be tested. And those tests are, so what are you going to do? Are you going to forgive? Are you going to be better than those that are harming you? And I can tell you, I continue to be challenged every day. And there's still parts of me that I'm working on. And although I can't change the circumstances or people or how they treat me, I can choose who I want to be in the face of adversity. I can choose how I respond to challenges. I can choose how to forgive and how quickly I forgive to those who are betraying me and hurting me so deeply. The decision is forgiveness, and it's forgiveness on a moment-to-moment basis. It doesn't mean you're forgiving people for or advocating that what they did was right, but it is allowing you to see that we're all from the light. I had a person, a mentor, a business partner that I invested a lot of money with, and she took all my money away this past year. And I couldn't believe that this happened to me. I trusted her. We're doing all these big things. And, her being overseas, she just suddenly disappeared and ghosted me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I had so much anger bubbling up inside me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to think of bad things happening to her. Like, this is not good. This is not good. And I realized that it was me. Like, this was consuming my life and the way I see things, because everything started to anger me. And this is around the same time when, sadly, Charlie Kirk had passed away. And his wife, I had heard through my husband, he's like, hey, did you know that Charlie Kirk's wife had forgiven the man who killed her husband? And I really don't watch the news, and I don't follow all of these things. But as soon as I heard that, something activated within me. It was like my lesson, my flashlight. And I was like, if this wife could forgive a man, a person who's killed her husband, then surely I can do that too. Surely I can do that too. So I sent her an email, this person who was not responding, and I sent her an email of forgiveness. And I told her that, everything that happened was not okay. But I know that we're all from the light, and one day we're going to go back to the light. And I want this to be a place where I'm proud of the decisions I'm making right now. And I want it to come from the place where I choose to become better, even though I'm becoming bitter in my heart. So I told her that I forgive her. I forgive everything that's happened. I started to speak blessings over her children, over her future. And I started to thank her for the parts of our relationship that she did give me light. And when I did that, it was like something released within me. And I no longer obsessively thought about her. She no longer caused me pain. Now I look back at her and it's more of a story that I'm telling you versus like a heart-wrenching, like green scary monster that comes out. And another thing, interestingly, is that when I did this, I had the biggest blessing. It's like my own business just boomed out of nowhere. And that's how even this global summit came about, and how all of these new ideas are prospering, and it was of course never with that intention, but it shows you that when you're able to do hard things, and you can do hard things, when you're able to do hard things from a genuine place and for the right reason, the universe sees that. They see how much pain it causes, and the degree of pain is always the degree of blessing that will come back to you. Belief. You have to believe. Belief is the very beginning. It's the beginning and end of everything. You have to begin to believe more is possible for you. If you believe you're a victim, the universe will always show you and agree that you are a victim, and you'll become so angry by it. If you believe that the world is a beautiful place, the universe will show you that the world is a beautiful place. Start to begin to think of what you're thinking in your mind, what keeps repeating on autopilot, and what does your life look like based on these beliefs. And, this goes back to the place of acceptance. We need to rewrite our story. You can always be the victim in any situation, just like I've always been the victim, and I could always be the victim in what happened with me with this lady, but I choose to become better. And now this is just a story. It's something I'm dusting off. I'm like, you know what, Steph? You're going to meet two types of people. There are only two types of people: those who work really hard to make a beautiful path ahead for them and their families, and those who step over their shoulders and try to get ahead. And I'm going to just choose that no matter what, I'm going to work hard. And this is just one of my little experiences that I've had to learn from growing a business. And I believe that the universe will continue to take care of me and bless me, and I bless her too. You go inward. I heard this before. prayer is so powerful. And when you pray, it's said that you're speaking to God, but when you meditate, God is speaking to you. You got to learn to quiet your mind and allow the world to speak to you in a quiet place, because all the things that you're praying for, many times we don't have the ability to clearly hear what's being spoken back. And you need to learn about what God's voice looks like, sounds like, feels like. There are always higher order thoughts. They're creative solutions. It's inspiration. And it's a nudge. It's a nudge to push forward and do something. Because we're co-creators of our life, our universe, we'll always have an opportunity to present itself. But remember, it's us who must choose to take action. Are we going to choose to do it right away? Or are we going to delay in the sidelines and maybe decide to do this later? We get to choose how quickly we propel in our life. If we keep feeling the nudge and we say yes, then the universe will conspire to help us and create another opportunity. And then we're going to say yes, and the universe will create another opportunity. And then suddenly it's like we're quantum jumping timelines so fast, and we look like this overnight success. Somebody who could be so broken is all of a sudden so loving and nurturing and a beautiful mother and hasn't become those who harmed. And one of the things I have to tell you, it just came out of nowhere, is that you have to look at people that, you only have in life what you were given when you're a young child. So that means if you weren't given a lot of love in your heart, it could be really hard for you to receive love, to give love, to understand love, And of course, all things are possible where through God, through Jesus, through forgiveness, we can transform that part of us and receive love. But for many people, if they're voided from love in the beginning, they don't know how to give that to the next generation. So if you've had parents who were very abusive or narcissistic and kept you playing small or hidden in the shadows and didn't believe in you, that's likely because they had the same upbringing of parents who kept them in the shadows, didn't believe in them. And this is the place where you have to forgive that little part of that, because in that mask of anger, like it's not even anger, it's like that chip in the shoulder. I hate the world. The world's evil. When you have that chip in the shoulder, if you were to take off that mask, what you would actually see is anger. And then if you take off that mask of anger, what you would actually see is sadness. And if you take off that mask of sadness, what you would actually see is a little child, an inner child, a little girl, a little boy in the corners of a dark room crying. And sad children grow into angry adults, and this is the cycle, but we get to choose to break it, and that's what this is. We don't have to carry the past heartache of what we grew up into. We get to choose to be better. So this is how I help women to quantum leap and bend time. Bend time means that instead of these things taking days, weeks, months, forever, lifetimes, it can actually happen really fast. And as I mentioned before, change, the illusion of change, it has to take a long time, but actually it doesn't. And the thing that is really beautiful is that when I went through the spiritual awakening, after I realized, that inner voice was Jesus. Jesus is my main teacher, and I actually channel Jesus, and he's my guiding light. I'm meant, as others are in this world, to continue his work, not through a place of religion per se, but through a place of teaching love, non-judgment, unity, and ascension, which is us growing in our path, and that's what I teach. So I was meant to become a healer. I actually work in the stock market for my day job, but I'm transforming into a healer with a global movement to heal the world. So I help women to heal their deepest pain through Reiki. I'm ignited for Holy Light Intuitive Healing, which actually is much stronger, 1,000 times more stronger than Reiki, and that breaks karmic bonds, and it heals trauma. And it helps me when I heal. I actually have the ability, it's my superpower, when I can connect to a person's energy, I can tap in. I always ask one question, like, what's keeping you stuck right now? And what comes back is an immediate response from divinity. I'm a divine channel. So I have mediumship to connect with spirit guides, angels, ascended masters, Jesus. And it is through the words of Jesus. He speaks through me to you, to the women I serve, to provide them a pathway of how to untangle the web that they're in, just as he helped me many years to untangle the web that I was in. And through our healing session, he's able to do that. I'm also in the process of becoming an accredited neuroscience coach, and one of the things that I want to share with you is something I hope I can have time for today. If not, I'm going to be sending an email to everybody about this. And I've actually, one of my charted purposes is to bring a program into the world called the Blueprint to Your $1 Million Life. And this uses actually astrology to identify your South Star and your North Star, your karmic wounds and your destiny, to help you to pivot back into divine alignment. And, you know, becoming a manifestation coach, I'm an author, a life coach, and all the things. But my purpose is to teach people in various avenues of how they can live their life faster so that they can learn how to do everything and transform much faster than I ever did. So this is the part that I'm probably going to send to everybody watching as a continuation in an email of a beautiful way to shift and transform through your neural pathways. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. But this is me, and I just wanted to really thank you for being here with me today. It really is such a pleasure. One of the things that I do, and we'll talk a little bit about that, is that as a divine healer, my whole job in this world is to heal people as many ways as I can. And it is my pleasure, it would be my honor if we could stay in touch. So through my posts and through my initiatives, my hope is that I can inspire you, even through social media, to heal different parts of your life. So please add me on social media, through Facebook, through Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I haven't done it much yet. I do have a YouTube podcast. Still need to pick that up. There's just so much going on. All blessings. But if you are in the Toronto area, I do host in-person retreats and monthly women's healing circles in a beautiful lavender farm with a fire ceremony and affirmations, sound bowls, Reiki. It is absolutely stunning, and I use crystals, lavender essential oil. It's just magical. So that's a little bit there in the back, but it'd be my pleasure to have you. Please contact me because I need to update my events list for 2026. So send me an email right there. And new this year too, I'm going to be doing healing retreats called Back to Us, and I have a new focus on, it's called the Inner Light Project, where I'm trying to target preteen girls and boys. So for the girls, it's called She Belongs. For boys, it's called Confident and Brave. It's such an important transitional year where I'm really trying to help these amazing kids step into alignment so that they don't have to bring their past into their future if they didn't love it. That I can teach them how to transform, and they can just, launch into their adulthood at white knuckle speed with grace, happiness, ease, alignment. It's just such a pivotal year. So you're going to hear more about that soon. So that was in person. I also have a virtual Inner Circle membership where we meet twice a month. I do Reiki sound bowl healing the first time we meet, and the second time we meet, I also do a workshop, a ritual. We always have a theme of some kind. So it's whether, how do I let go of the past that keeps haunting me? So I teach about inner peace. Why do I work so hard to make money, but yet I'm still in so much debt? So I teach about financial abundance. how am I such a good person, but I'm still so stuck in life? And I talk about alignment. This month in February, it's how am I attracting so many toxic people in my life? And I talk about nourishing relationships and divine love. So this is actually going to be the affirmation that I'll send to everybody after this, because I'm totally going to I'm going to go past my time. So I'll send an email to you. But this is something that each person in my inner membership would be receiving at the very start of the month. And the goal is to do this every day, because it actually will create neural pathways in your mind and help you to shift the way that you see the world. It shifts your energy, and you actually become the person you wish to be, because you let go of all of that darkness, just like these little cloths, right? You start to change your frequency. And when you change, everything around you changes. And if you're ready to go deeper, this is something that's really specific to a person who's really ready. And I have included a QR code, and you're welcome to take a look, but I would ask you to send me an email, info@stephmahoney.com, because not everybody's ready for it. I'm looking for the trailblazers, the people who are really ready to shift and transform their life from nothing into everything. Because what this is a 4-month experience with me as a group coach, where I'm going to actually provide you, it's all about you, and we do a deep dive into your astrology and your past lives. We identify what your life looked like in the 1800s, 1900s, and take a look at your South Star to identify it, because that's a golden thread of karma that's coming into your life right now. Karma keeps coming back in a circle until you see it and you can heal it and rise above it. And that's what I teach. And then this astrology report also shows you your North Star, where you're meant to go, your purpose, your higher purpose in this world. And it's not just like juicy information, but like, oh my gosh, like, what are we going to say, you know? But this place of the astrology report is to pinpoint all the areas so that we can actually heal it. Because remember, I have a healing modality that breaks karmic bonds and heals trauma so that you don't have to keep reliving this. And that's the way to fast track and quantum leap and bend time, where you can transform into the highest version of yourself, into that one, the brother who's a successful businessman, and let go of the alcoholic version, right? But this is really, really powerful. And the reason is because it's a full transmission. This is a program that was divinely charted for me to bring into this world. All of it's channeled. We activate light activations. We go through a death to rebirth to ascension. I bring in ascended masters who know exactly where you are in your own blueprint, and they shift your own life. And this is where the magic happens, because I'm only with you for little parts of your life, but they're with you constantly. And that's because they love you and they want your life to be magnificent and feel this highest timeline present in your own life for you to fulfill your purpose, because the world needs you. And in fact, without you filling your purpose, you would leave a cosmic void in this quantum universe. That's how important you are. And that's why all of this is coming now, because we need to awaken women. We need to awaken people. You know, there's so much Netflix binging, and there's so much, iPhone scrolling, and there's so much distraction that's keeping us in this hypnosis. And I'm here to awaken us from this place where it's okay to do these things in moderation, but like, we have things to do, we have places to go, and like, let me show you the roadmap, because that's when your life starts opening up, and that's when you feel this genuine place of happiness. So this is the place that I'm going to end off, and I'm going to send this to you through email, because unfortunately I am going to be short on time. But this is part of the Inner Circle affirmation, and what it's going to do is recode your subconscious mind and transform toxic love patterns into nourishing, aligned relationships. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm really excited for you to experience it. And I ask you to save this onto your phone, listen to it every day, and feel the change within you. And if you have any interest to join my inner circle, it would be my honor to welcome you. It's virtual because my intention is to reach women on all corners of the world to be a part of it. And of course, if you're ready to go deeper, then I invite you to message me so I can speak to you over the phone. I'll talk to you and find out where you are in your life, because I want to make sure that if you're going to do this, your whole life will quantum leap into your highest potential. You're going to live this magnificent version of you. But it's important for me to know that you're ready, because I don't want you to start what you can't finish. And when you finish this after your time with me, you're going to be at this magnificent place. I have so many testimonies to share with you. And in fact, very quickly, I was introduced I was invited as a guest to 2 New York City talk shows to talk about the work and the transformation, because when it came out, there was so much buzz around it and people just wanted to know, like, what is this? So what I can tell you is that has nothing to do with me. It's everything to do with divinity, and is my honor to be a conduit, a divine channel, to bring all of this higher level information into bite-sized pieces and bring it to you. So with that, I want to thank you for joining me for today, episode 1, talk 1, day 1 of this magnificent global summit. I thank you with all of my heart, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your time with us. And I'll be back at the very end of the summit to wish you farewell. All my love to you. Namaste.